Okay, here we are with episode 2. Roger getting ready to cut the actual F-hole itself out after the holes have been cut.
I'm using Japanese knives. They're laminated steel. And you'll notice that the one side is flat and the other side's tapered. That way when I'm cutting a straight line, I can get an absolutely straight line straight down on certain sides. See, on this, for this one here, I cut with the right-handed taper. On this one here, I'll cut with the left-handed taper. That way my straight sides are actually straight down, not compressed.
Huh. All about the right tools, and sharp tools when you're doing this kind of work.
That's one of the reasons I like the Japanese laminated steel for this job. That is that they are absolutely sharp. They're extremely razor sharp. And you bring this in and blend it right straight into your hole there.
They hold an edge really well too, so.
Basically, I'm just outlining this at this point. It helps when you're cutting with other cutters to have a fairly deep outline already cut. I'm going to switch knives and cut that the other direction now. Have to be very careful you don't use a great deal of pressure. Use enough pressure to cut, but not enough pressure to lose control.
It'll crack, right?
If you use too much pressure, you can crack at this point. And actually, I'm not as interested in cutting exactly on the line, although I'm cutting on the line here. But if I'm going to miss that line, I'm going to miss it on the inside, because I can always widen these. But once you get them too wide, you can't narrow them. So I'm being very careful just to cut on the line or inside the line, because I can refine these after they're completed. We don't want any slips of the knife, so you just do it very gently with nice firm pressure, but not overdoing it. Better to cut several times to get to the depth where you want to go.
And are you trying to go maybe halfway through, or are you trying to actually go through?
Actually, the first cut, I probably don't go any more than a quarter to a third of the way through.
I see.
Actually, I guess I want that other knife for this part while we're cutting up this direction. Change knives again. I'm cutting from a different direction now. Always like that flat side of the knife to be on the side of this F-hole that I want to be straight down. The tapered side of the knife goes on the side of the waste wood, so it can be compressed, but I don't want to compress that part of the top that's going to be the final edge. See how we're doing here. Don't have anything clear through yet. This top is really quite a bit thicker than the finished top will be. I usually start cutting F-holes after I've got the top about 4.5 millimeters thick. My finish top here in the center, at least in this F-hole area, will be more like 3.5 millimeters. So I leave extra wood so that I can actually work around the edges of the F-hole and get them down to exact thickness around the edges without having it too thin at the edge. You see, I heard that crack just now. You hear that little tiny ting?
Indeed.
That's actually going clear through when I do that.
Okay.
You can see the little line here.
Oh yeah.
So that's part of the sound of progress.
Part of this, I'm sure, is learning to cut downhill on the grain so that you're not carving into end grain.
If you
that
carve
kind of
into
thing.
the grain, you'll lose control. It will liable to do anything strange if you cut against the grain.
All about going the right direction for sure.
So there we go.
Very cool.
I'm not quite through on that with this cut yet, but it's coming. Oh, there it comes. I hear it.
The whole downhill thing is why he turned that around just now, to be able to continue cutting downhill. If you think about the grains ending and not wanting to cut into that end grain, you have to flip it around in order to continue going downhill.
I'm going to flip it again because that downhill process is important. You see how the grain runs here? I have to cut with that grain so that this doesn't catch the end of my knife and run my knife off into a different direction. But this is actually clear through now. As you can see, the whole inside cut there is clear through. I'm going to flip this again so that I'm cutting away from the grain. So the grain running up here, and I'm cutting what we would call downhill with the grain. See, so that you're not fighting the grain here as you're cutting. There we go.
Very good. Just take away what's not an F-hole, right?
Absolutely. That crackling sound would scare somebody that's not used to this, but there we go.
There you are. All right, and we'll do another episode with finishing up the F-hole.